And we're
Who are
live.
you now? Who? I don't know. The ominous they. Man pulling the strings, all me, my father.
And that, my friend, is the intro brought to you by Lord Fresco. Hit him up at lordfresco.com if you need a beat. Episode. Welcome to the Omnius Day Radio. I'm your host, Jose, your co-host, always.
Tony?
All right, Tony. So we're going to be talking about Game of Thrones and
Episode
episode
1 and 2.
one and two. Yep. You want to start us off with anything? We got some one. Start off with episode one.
Episode 1 of Game of Thrones. I believe that everybody who's listening to this should have seen it last week. I think it was a great starting episode. The hype was real.
Excuse the noise. I can't do the noise. But continue.
The hype was real for episode 1 of Game of Thrones of season 7. There was a few things happened during that episode. Daenerys finally made it to Westeros, which is probably one of the biggest things to have happened on the show since day one. Is one of the most hyped things that has been on its way since episode 1 of season 1. For it to finally happen and for it to be a silent scene where all she says at the end was, let's get started, was a really powerful scene for them to keep it quiet like that. Do you agree with me?
It was. I definitely do agree, and I really like the fact that that scene was very cinematographic. You finally see Dragonstone, which was awesome. Dragonstone is beautiful, I would have to say. You also, while you're in that scene, you get to see how everybody just gives Daenerys some space. All you see is her country, her land. Then there's a distance, there's separation. The whole scene, you see like at the point where they're finally inside the hall with the chair and everything, they're just sitting. Not sitting. I'm sorry. They're standing, and Masandi actually pulls Grey Worm to the side, like, "Hey, stop."
Don't say nothing. Pretty much, it was a scene where a lot of it was the scenery was supposed to invoke everything you need to know. You didn't need to. Nobody needed to speak. Nobody needed to say anything. Everything was said before the scene ever happened. It's been 7 years in the making. So there was no words.
Yep. I mean, you only see Dragonstone once or twice, and that's in the few seasons, I believe, 2 and season 3. You see a little bit of Dragonstone, but that's about it. You only see the interior of the war room, basically. That's all you see.
Any other points? There's a lot of points in this episode. Any other points you want to start talking about?
Well, we have to talk about the first 4 minutes of the episode because Arya gets like 50 kills.
That was honestly, I didn't remember what happened last season. I didn't do my homework this year. I've been really busy. So when I saw Walder Frey there, I was like, wait a second, what the hell happened? I thought he died. It threw me off for a quick second. Then I remembered who killed him and what she's been trained to do. So then I started getting.
I actually thought that episode or that scene right there was a flashback. Came back to season 6, but then my sister actually called and she's like, "That's Arya." I'm like, "No, it can't be. It can't be." And then it was Arya.
Well, apparently that scene wasn't even supposed to be the first scene. The actor did it off so well that the producers made it the first scene because he did the subtle changes in his personality, so you could see that it wasn't really him.
Yeah, you have to give it up to the actor for doing that. He was playing another character who was playing his character while acting. It's kind of like a little bit of actingception. He
Yeah,
was playing a character who was playing another character who was supposed to be that character.
Tropic
The
Thunder
audience.
moment.
Yeah. What do you think about the whole Jon Snow scene?
Well, I think Jon Snow has gotten himself into something again that he is definitely ready for it, but he wasn't. He's ready for it from our point of view, but from his point of view, he wasn't ready for it at all. I think he's starting to realize how much actually goes into being a king.
Yep.
Like,
There's also the he did bring out some good points. He brought out a lot of good points during his speech. It's just the other people don't understand them. I kind of do like the fact that Sansa went and contradicted him in front of everybody.
well, she has a point. I don't think that was the moment to make her point, but she has a point he needs to be able to listen to critique and listen to what his people have to say. But
I definitely
I honestly
agree
think
with
that
you.
she felt like she had to do that because she wasn't getting the credit that she deserved. Because she went in there thinking that it was going to be her that was going to be Queen of the North. When she did everything she was doing, that was what really was her plan from the get. Because she's the true born, and I think that still has something to do with everything. She might be his sister, but she was raised by her mother.
Yep,
And
yep,
she was
yep.
also
And
trained
do you
by.
have any likes or dislikes? Let's start with likes. What were some of the things that you liked about this episode?
Some of the things that I liked about the first episode. Well, the scenes that they're doing, like they waited for the Daenerys scene to be the last scene of the episode to shut it down. I like that. I liked there was a few things like I always like the way that they work the next scene in every episode. Like let's say that you see John talking about the Queen, the what's her name, the Lannisters. You see them talking about the Lannisters, so you kind of already know the next scene is going to be the Lannisters, and you see them talking about the next people, and every scene works the next scene in. I've always loved that.
Yeah, I see. I know what you're talking about, definitely. Now, one of the things that I liked having that painting on the floor in King's Landing of the map of Westeros.
I think that was dope.
What else? Where were some of the things that I liked? The episode itself was really, really good.
I like the scene with Euron Greyjoy, where he pretty much goes in there and tells her, "Yo, I'm gonna help you. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that." And I like his assertiveness. He might be the bad guy or whatever, depends on how you look at it. But I like that. I like him as a character. He's a good like final kind of like antagonist of the show. We know who the real antagonist of the show is. It's always going to be the White Walkers, but he's a good a good spin into everything because we have no idea what he's going to do.
I agree. Definitely agree. Outfit was very, very nice. I don't know where he got that kind of like goth look for that time, but it fits him.
Yeah.
another thing I really liked. I liked that little scene that we got with Silence.
With who?
Silence. His ship.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that, and oh my god, that ship was really nice.
I remember the ships from the books. Just in case anybody didn't know, I think we both read the books several times. And for those who are watching,
that's definitely something our viewers should know. We have both read the books. We're both anticipating the Winds of Winter, and we both actually own a copy of the history of Westeros.
and we have pretty much gone through every book. I've done it. I've gone through the books twice. I'm not sure how many times Jose has done it, but I've gone through the books. Then I've listened to other podcasts going through the books, and I'm really big into.
Yeah, definitely. And I've actually reached out to the podcast. It's pretty good. Episode 1 happened already. It was last week. Now I really want to jump into talking about episode 2. I finished watching it because you were busy on Sunday night. I saw it again this earlier when I came out of work, just for the hell of it.
I just finished watching it about 20 minutes ago, so I had to get up, walk around for a few scenes. Episode 2 was way better than episode 1 in my opinion.
Let's start from the beginning. You have a little bit more pressure in my mind, so I'm gonna let you start it off, and then I'll pick up from you.
What was it that I texted you in the first thing that I saw?
Let me see. Let me look at my messages. You told me I fucking love this episode.
Yep, that's pretty much that. I'm trying to remember what was the first, because there's so much things happen. It's hard to remember what happened in what order.
Oh, I'm in blue light mode right now. There we go. Sorry, my monitors had turned dark on me.
Off the bat.
The episode started off
with Tyrion and Daenerys talking about what their plans is, and then on top of that, you see what he's telling her. Oh no, it was the Varys, her interrogating Varys. We've been waiting all last season for her to interrogate Varys and to find out for her to question him about his loyalty. And I liked his answers. I'm a big Varys fan. I like his method of doing stuff. He might be secretive, very not knowing what he is, but at the end of the day, in the books, in the show, it's been clear what his goal is. His goal is to help his people, and I like that we finally get to hear what his allegiance are. And I like that there's a character out there looking out for the little people.
Yep. That's definitely.
I honestly
definitely agree with
the whole show who's out there to actually help the kingdom instead of helping themselves. I don't care. You can maybe except for Jon Snow, there's no other character in the whole show that's out there looking out for them or the other people instead of herself or himself. Even Daenerys.
Yep.
One of the back to where her family was. She's she might be okay as a queen, but at the end of the day, her goal is for her to get back the power that she deserved when she was born.
All right, so one of the things that I really liked about that conversation that they were having is Dany is. You saw the dragon come out of her when she was saying stuff like, if you cross me, I won't kill you, I will burn you alive. Many people alive.
I like the fact that he told the Mad King, she told him the Mad King was, crazy. Yeah, you can't trust him, and he straight up told her in her face what she needed to hear, so she doesn't forget why they're there. They're there because her father fucked up royally and became crazy and paranoid.
Yep. Let me see. Then next up after that, we had a scene of pull up the episode. Give me 1 second, people. I'm gonna have to get on the old interwebs. But how did you feel about the whole their whole
After
work?
that was Melisandre jumped in and fought, and was introduced to Daenerys.
Yep. How did you feel about their war council? That little war council meeting, their battle plan.
Oh, I loved it. I love seeing, like, it wasn't obvious at first until you actually get to see, like, oh shit, all these people, all the generals are women.
I'm looking at it now and I just noticed that they're all women.
Everybody in that war council that had anything to do with anything were all women. I liked it. I like that it wasn't hyped. I like that it was just, it kind of happened, and you're like, oh, wait a second. Every person in this is like, I like that. If you think about it, the only man in the whole show that has an army behind him is Jon, and his sister kind of is about to. This is looking like a war that's gonna, let's say Jon, something happens to Jon, it might be all women fighting each other.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm just pulling up the episode now just so we can have a little bit more reference to look on.
I do have.
Well, it'll be better for me to have it up also. I'm not trying to go scene by scene because that will make this podcast 2 hours, and we're not. I don't think we're ready for a 2-hour podcast yet.
I like that Olenna told her to be a dragon.
What happened?
I like that Olenna told her that you're a dragon, start being a dragon.
Yeah, definitely. Let me see. Looking up. Yep, I see Varys, and I see the next scene.
We got to see in the King's Landing. We got to see Randall Tarly.
Yep. Okay. So the next scene after that, it jumps to Winterfell. It's but that's when Dany sends the message over to Jon. Talk about that, because that was the part that got you crazy when the whole.
I like the fact that we're finally starting to see Dany's gonna finally meet Jon Snow. I like the fact that Tyrion he put himself up and said, "I trust Jon." Even though they only met in the first season for a few episodes, I always wanted to see more interactions between Jon Snow and Tyrion. They're two of my favorite characters, so I was hyped to see them stand up for each other. Even like Jon did it for Tyrion, and Tyrion did it for him, and and they were worlds apart. I like that their friendship was already, like, the little bit that they got to know each other was enough for them to do that.
But that got me hyped when Tyrion did defend him. He's like, and you can kind of saw a surprise on his face when they told him that he was the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, where Tyrion's face went surprised, and then Melisandre says he is the King of the North. Bastards. Oh no!
I like Khaleesi and everything, but there's still something, like, I don't like the fact that she was like, oh, you better come over here and bend the knee. I understand she's queenie, but you're still a little full of yourself if you think that everybody's just gonna come over here and do what you want. Tyrion is trying to easily explain to you that you got to do everything the right way, not just expect everybody to do the shit you want, even though she's definitely proved that she gets what she wants.
Oh God. So after that, people feel a little bit offended. They feel offended that he wants to now go down to the south.
No, they're worried about him. They've all been paying attention to how meetings become traps and weddings become bloodbaths, and the littlest thing you don't expect to happen happens. So they're just worried that they're gonna lose the King of the North. And John doesn't have the best of luck. If you've been paying attention.
Well, yes, but it's kind of, they did bring it up where I believe it was Sansa that brought it up, where she said, or was that I don't know, Bron Weiss, where he said to your father, to your brother, to your uncle, landing. You know what part I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So that they did tell him when your father and your
put them in a suit of armor and burnt them to death.
Mm-hmm. But what else?
Ain't that crazy?
Oh, so, the next scene after that, we have I think they jump over to the Tarleys. The Tarleys were, I don't really say nothing. We already know Randall Tarley is kind of a douche. Any mind to them.
I like Jamie downplayed the son. I thought that was kind of funny.
Dickin?
But
I like the.
Let's jump to Arya. She didn't have many scenes this week, but we could easily go through her. We got the return of Hot Pie, which is kind of funny.
Oh yeah, the Hot Pie.
Yeah, he was it was fun to see him back, but it was also fun to finally see that she knows who the King of the North is now, and the expression she had on her face, and the fact that was enough to change her route. I think she's no longer headed to the south. She's headed to Winterfell now.
You actually saw that the people behind Arya were talking about going down to the capital. Included that scene there. So they were talking about going down. Arya kind of like expressed that she might have followed, but then Hot Pie comes. That your brother won the Battle of the Bastards. Your brother's the King of the North, and she also had that surprise look. She then goes over.
I like that Arya picked family over her vengeance.
Yep.
That's what really that scene was about. It was about her continuing her path down vengeance, or her going back home to see her family and brother. And I like that she picked going to see her family over going down to the south and killing the queen. Regardless of whatever, she's doing it for her family. So I like that. I like that we're gonna finally see Arya meet up with family. It's been so long. Maybe. But I don't think she's gonna meet up with the family she thought she was gonna meet up with.
Yeah. Now let's go over to another fun part that I liked. Nymeria.
That was a cool scene.
Yeah. Did you get the whole thing or about the whole phrase that she said? That's not you.
Well, I understood what she said, but once I saw the end of the episode and saw the little snippet about it, where they explained it, I understood where they came from, but I knew what she meant. Good. Wild animal's gonna be a wild animal.
And then Arya can't expect Nymeria to follow her after, let's say, seven years that have gone by so fast.
Well, in the show was 7 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The show is.
See that in the book. Reading the book might be a little different.
Whatever that time frame is.
Yeah.
You let an animal loose for that long, they're not going to be loyal to you anymore. Now, maybe the wolves in the future have a better have a bigger role to fight in the show.
So let's jump. So outside of Arya scene, that was an awesome scene. Finally got to see one of the labs remaining of the dire wolves, and she's huge.
Yep.
She was
Yep.
probably easily 2 times bigger than Arya was. I'm mad that the show didn't hype up the wolves as much as they've done in the book. And you keep hearing about this crazy pack in the books that's killing everybody in the Riverlands.
Yep. That was a pretty big pack. I was the pack was actually.
Let's jump down to Old Town. Well, Samuel is being the MVP of the fucking show.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
He is definitely being the MVP from down where he's at. He's in this episode. His letter made it up to Jon Snow, and Jon Snow made his decision to go because of him. He also met up with Jorah Mormont, and he might be the character to find the cure for grayscale and cure Jorah.
Yep. Let me stop you right there. I actually thought that he was gonna try to cure him with like some type of dragon glass, slice him, cut him open with some like, dragon glass, or stab him with it. I don't know.
Well,
I was just going.
As I've come to expect from this show, I don't expect him to get cured that first time.
Can you repeat that? You got
him to be cured with this first try.
Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting it for it to look like it worked, and then when Jorah goes to Dragonstone to see Daenerys because he got cured, the Dragonstone on the island might be what ends up curing him. That's my expectation because I know I think I know better than to expect anything to work the way it's supposed to work on this show. As you can see from with Daenerys' plan at the end of this episode, nothing goes the way it's planned out. The plan never makes it through the field of battle.
Just because we're talking about Old Town, let me tell you this cool little interesting fact that I found out. Did you know that those chains on the end on the books are actually the same? They're the same material of chain that the Maesters wear.
Well, the Maesters wear different kinds of metal on their chain.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. We're like, you know how a Maester every link is something that they mastered or something that they studied.
Yeah.
That same link material is on the end of the books. So some of those are like iron, some of them are steel, some of them are gold, I believe. You have gold.
Okay. Some of them are dragon bones. For the few that have read up on dragons, it depends on what they study. The gold means money, like they study economics. You know, it all depends on what they've been studying.
Yeah. All right. So what's the next scene you want to jump to?
Well, we still haven't done King's Landing, where the Queen Cersei starts making her plans and starts trying to convince everybody that the Unsullied and the Dothraki are these savages that they've been heard, you know.
All right. Well, let me start that off where Cersei's right, and she did have a point. You can't go, conquer her land with a foreign army. Her then the Westeros, whatever, they're not gonna follow her if she tries to take their land with a foreign army.
Well, as you can see, the plan that they have would work if everything goes the way it's supposed to be planned, because she's already doing what everybody has been saying from the beginning of the show. No forest invaders will ever take over Westeros because of their loyalty to the country. They'd rather have somebody else that's from the country to take over their land than somebody that's from outside of the country. But my point to the thing is, Aegon did it. And he was foreign when he did it.
Their battle, I do like their battle plan where Dorne is gonna not attack. They're gonna siege. They're gonna siege from the south.
Yeah,
the siege tactics. So Dorne is gonna come in from the south. Come in from the east, and then the Unsullied are gonna go and capture
Casterly Rock, which we might finally see this season.
That, but you know what I'm more excited about, and this is one of my high expectations for the season.
I didn't hear that last part.
The Field of Fire.
You think we're gonna see one?
Yep. If you remember, there was a whole thing about Aegon Targaryen surrounding in a field of fire, and that's where the battle held, which is the only time that Aegon Targaryen let loose all three dragons at the same time.
My prediction to that, we're not gonna see a field of fire until Daenerys turns her eyes to fighting the undead army. I don't think it's gonna happen with people. I think they're gonna do a field of fire with the dead. And that's how they're gonna try to defeat the dead.
All right. Well, we might lose the dragon this season.
What?
We might lose the dragon this season.
I think there's 3 of them. I think we're gonna lose at least 2 of them, maybe 1.5. I'm saying that one of them is gonna get so hurt that he can only run around and not fly no more. But I don't think we're gonna lose all 3 dragons. In the books, there is, if you remember reading the World of Ice and Fire, there was a dragon who couldn't walk around no more, but he was still a dragon and was still crazy dangerous.
Yeah, but I don't think that we're gonna lose 2. I believe we're gonna lose 1. But then it's Game of Thrones, so we might lose fucking Drogon and another dragon because the show is crazy enough to do it.
All right, now let's go to the twist at the end of the episode.
At the end of the episode, which one are you talking about?
We finally got to see a boat fight.
Oh, I was listening to a podcast earlier this week, and that was one of the things that they brought up where they said, could the gift be one of the Sand Snakes? As soon as they said that, I thought about it. You know, they're not protagonists to the development of the story, so they might. So, you know, that might be the gift. What better to give Cersei who killed her daughter? As he was saying, it's a priceless gift. Which
I know he was a badass from the get, but this episode definitely made him earn that title of being a badass. He has a talk and he walks.
I wanted to see the Valyrian armor, the Valyrian steel armor so badly, and I was sad that I didn't see it. That's my dislike for this episode. Steel armor.
Well, we also got to see Theon jump back into his old ways.
Well, he went back and he became weak and jumped out the water.
I don't think he became weak. I just think he. It's traumatizing what he went through.
Well, it was. You got to think about it. He was the last survivor on that ship. He couldn't take on his uncle. So I would have done the same thing. I would have jumped off the boat, went back to Dany or something, or try to figure out how to get back to Dany. We just lost the Sand Snakes and that woman's name is, I keep forgetting. Sorry. But
Illyria.
no, he might go back. Who?
I think it's Illyria Sand.
Oh yeah, Illyria Sand, right?
I believe so.
Well, Illyria Sand and the Sand Snakes, and he could go back to Danny, tell him, hey, we lost some of our ships. I lost my sister. I need her.
But that's not what he did at the end. He started swimming towards the ship, his uncle's ship. So I think you got to remember, Theon is a survivor. If there's anything that this show has taught us about Theon, Theon is the biggest survivor on this show. Yeah, he survived being living with the Stark. It wasn't a bad living, but it was still the enemy taking a hostage, and he was a hostage for the Starks. Even though we know the truth that he wasn't really a hostage, he survived being a hostage of Bruce Bolton and his son.
Yep.
Survived, he survived Stannis.
Yeah. What I'm thinking is, we know that his sister tried to save him. His way of redeeming himself, but like, hey, the ship, but I did it only to save you.
We'll see if he does end up saving her, which I think he has a chance because he might jump onto the ship and escape with her. But escape to where? They're on a ship. They can't possibly swim out of there. We're gonna have to see what happens.
All right. Yep. You're right. I'm just giving my 2 cents. Probably steal a ship, a little rowboat in the middle of the night from Euron or something.
Episode as a whole, what do you give it? 1 through 10.
Ooh, this one, for the beginning, I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna call it an 8.
You're gonna call this one 8. What was the episode 1? What was your score for episode 1?
I give it a 7. There were things that I wasn't expecting, but then at the same time, they were using that episode to build. That was a building episode. Because now we're down to 5 episodes left in this whole season. I know the next 5 episodes are gonna be even crazier.
Well, I give it a little higher. This episode to me was a 9 because of all the moments of it's always hype when you hear about characters finally acknowledging other characters in this show.
I'm gonna save my 9 and my 10 for when they really need it.
This episode has a solid 9. There was enough things that I didn't like that it was so few that it has to be a 9. It wasn't a perfect episode, but it was a 9. And very few perfect episodes. Episode 1, it definitely had a 7, a solid 7.
All right.
And as I told you, I love Game of Thrones, but I haven't been hyped for the show. I'm hyped for the book.
Yeah, definitely. That old man has to hurry up and finish the Winds of Winter. So what are your expectations for the next episode? What do you think we're gonna see?
Well, I think as you can see, time passes pretty fast when it comes to sending messages and people showing up, people crossing a whole sea in twice in one episode. So I don't think we're gonna be. I think we're gonna finally see Jon meeting up with Daenerys next episode. We're gonna see Cersei getting the captives that Euron took. We're gonna see what if Theon followed, and maybe we get the inkling of an escape plan this next episode. But I expect it to happen in 2 episodes. We're gonna see if Sam's operation worked.
I'm sorry, you're cutting off. The
We're gonna
internet's
see
lagging
if Sam's
again.
operation actually worked.
All right. Let me see. I think we're definitely gonna see the Brotherhood without banners again. I think they'll probably make it up to the wall or maybe close to Winterfell. I definitely want to see what's gonna happen when everybody's there together. Sandor Clegane, Sandor Clegane, Barry Dondarrion.
Oh, we forgot about episode 1. Sandor Clegane's scene was pretty big in episode 1 where he saw
where he
looked
sees
into the fire. Mind you, he's crazy scared of fire. And he looked into the fire and saw a mountain cracking. He saw the White Walkers walking through a mountain. And I honestly think that the mountain they were walking past was the wall that was destroyed or melted or something happened where it made it look like it was inclined on the side.
Yeah, I think they mentioned that like one of the earlier episodes, right?
Yeah.
Well, so that I want to see that. I want to see. I definitely want to see Cersei getting. What's gonna happen? Well, not the Sand Snakes. I think we're gonna see another clip of Old Town, and I think we're gonna see some Winterfell or not some more Arya. Definitely a big. I'm expecting a big Dany scene. I don't know what I'm gonna see. Real quick, the whole Miss Sunday and Grey Worm.
Yeah. That was interesting. That was an interesting scene, the Missandei and the Grey Worm scene. I think the payoff was okay, but we all know that Grey Worm doesn't really have a worm.
Grey Worm doesn't have a worm. At least he can do other things. There's always ways.
Well, we saw he could do other things.
All right, so you have let's jump into a little bit of tech news. Do you have any tech news or anything you're working on, trying out, experimenting?
Right now, I haven't really been into tech so much that I just found out it might have been out for weeks, but I had no idea that the Android 8 didn't have a charge port.
The Android 8 doesn't have a charge port.
Galaxy 8.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Well, that's what my cousins told me. I just found out in my and made me immediately not want to buy it. So right now I'm looking for some.
Do you mean it doesn't have a USB port? It might have a USB-C port.
No.
I don't think they're gonna go full wireless.
I believe that they went full wireless.
I had to look that up. Tech, I just want to definitely get a better webcam because right now I'm recording off of my Surface and I want to use which is just better and a little bit more powerful than this little guy. Probably get some better audio things, but that's in the. I am trying out the Galaxy, the Galaxy Watch, which is awesome. The Frontier, bought it for work. It's been really, really helpful. Really good. You saw how it was when we went on that hike a few weeks ago. Gave us a really nice readout of what is that? Altibarometer. There you go. You got anything else for us, Tony?
Not really. I've had a really busy day. So I didn't write anything down that I had to talk about, except that, I would like to know if there's any One Piece fans out there that listen to the show and want me to start talking about One Piece, because that's up there with my Game of Thrones. I'm a big fan of
for our viewers, just for our viewers to know, I'm not an anime fan, but I just started watching one. It's good. It's good. I'm still in season 1. I'm catching up on whenever I have some free time, but it's good. We should definitely have an Attack on Titans episode.
I didn't like it that much.
I had to jump in because the only other anime I liked after that was Dragon Ball Z because we grew up on Dragon Ball Z.
I would recommend anybody out there to watch Hunter x Hunter. Hands down, one of the most intriguing like animes. It's a slow build, but it's worth it. And it's not.
I have to. I definitely. I'm one of those people that I found it too slow, and I gave up on it. I will definitely go back. I think I got a little.
Wired and wireless, so I think my cousin was wrong, but I gotta make sure.
Yep. But all right, man, we're gonna get off this. Everybody for listening to our first podcast. Hope you enjoy it.
Any suggestions on anything we should do or not do during the podcast? Remember, this is the first one. I wasn't too ready for it. Maybe, hopefully, next week we'll be a little bit more prepared when we finally do this.
Yeah, definitely, we'll be more prepared, and it sounds laggy and everything, but please understand that I live in New York, so go via Google to do this. So hopefully there's not much of a bother for you guys. On the Omnius Day on Facebook and Instagram, show us some support. We thank you so much. Have a wonderful night, guys.